So practicing spelling is huge when it comes to suffixes because, often they will recognize it in a text and they'll get that strategy of, covering the suffix to read the base word, and that's great. But the spelling is often trickier. So it's not a one lesson and you're done, one and done. Every time I teach a new syllable type or a new grapheme and I work on just spellings of those words, I then always do some with the suffixes. So, I teach, like I said, I teach suffix S right after CVC words, but then later when I'm teaching blends, I'm gonna make sure and practice spelling and dictation with just blends without suffixes first, and then I'm gonna add in the suffix S again. So I'm constantly bringing it back, and then as I introduce more suffixes, I'm also practicing the dictation and the spelling with those. So something to think about when you are working on spelling, you want to make sure that you really get into their heads that you find the base word first, you spell the base word, and then you add the suffix. The difference between a good speller and a bad speller when it comes to suffixes anyway, I mean, there's a lot there, but with suffixes is the ones that quickly get, oh, I got to find the base word and write that first and then the suffix, they're more likely to spell it correctly. And then the kids who don't use that strategy right away or who think that they don't need to use that strategy, they're the ones who are missing letters. So let's use an example. So you've just taught suffixes, and so since at this point, at least in my sequence, I've only done CVC words, that's what I'm going to do. I'm only going to use words that are CVC words with the suffixes at the end of it. Okay, so let's do the word sits. The class sits on the rug, or the kid sits on the rug. So I'm gonna first ask my student, I'm gonna say the word, I'm gonna use it in a sentence, or actually sometimes my students like to be the one to use it in a sentence. I'm gonna remind them how it's used in the sentence, and then I'm gonna say, all right, what is the base word? Before we write sits, I don't wanna, because this is what I hear. Let me show you what I hear when I just try to sound out the word sits. Sometimes it comes out like this. And this is a really common spelling in the beginning because I didn't listen for the base word first. So let's cross that out. That was kind of a funny cross out. Okay, so what's my base word? And it helps again to use the hand motions. Sits. We're gonna peel away that S, and it is hard to hear. Sit. Now it's much easier when you're doing nouns, because the trick I use with nouns, if you're doing pits, like, I don't know, avocado pits, or I'm digging pits, I might say, okay, the word is pits. What if there's just one? Then what do you have? Oh, pit. Like they get that a little bit easier. So it is nice to start with nouns because they can do that a lot easier than the verbs, like sits. To be like, what is the base word is a little harder because they can't picture just one. There's something really to picture. So they might need help with that in the beginning, peeling away that sound and then remembering what that base word is. So then they've identified the base word is sit. So that's when you go back to just your regular spelling. Okay, sit, sit. So I'm gonna have them write the word sit. How do you spell the word sit? Because again, we've already gone over spelling CVC words. So this is not new instruction, this part. So they're gonna spell sit, I'm gonna spell sit, and I'm gonna tell them, I just want you to be spelling the base word sit. So now what do we do to make it the word sit? We add an S. But then we're not done. Then I say, okay, underline your base. And there are still kids who are gonna say, what's the base? Even though we've done it lots of times. That's okay, it takes a while. There's a lot of words here. So then I will show them the base is where all the meaning is. It's the main word, sit. And now we're gonna circle the suffix. The suffix is S. So I'm going to do that with all of my words. And if I see someone who is trying to write the word before finding the base word, I am going to stop them. I'm going to say, tell me what the base is orally. Like, I want to hear you say the base because I want to make sure that they can do that because they are more likely to spell the word right.